Your soulmate finally discovered why you gave up chasing them, and now they regret everything. My beloved child, don't skip. Your soulmate has finally discovered the truth they never expected to face. You didn't stop chasing them because you stopped caring. You stopped because you finally realized that love should never feel like one person is doing all the reaching while the other keeps waiting to be pursued. For the longest time, they believed you would always return. Another message. Another chance. Another attempt to save what was slowly slipping away. But then your energy changed. You became quiet, not because you wanted their attention, but because you were finally done proving how deeply you cared. And that silence has started revealing everything they refused to notice before. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is now replaying moments they once ignored, and every memory is showing them the same painful truth. You gave them far more chances than they realized. What happened next surprised even them. When you stopped chasing, they expected to feel free, but instead, they began noticing the emptiness where your effort used to be. Suddenly, there was nobody constantly closing the distance. Nobody making things easier. Nobody giving them the comfort of knowing that no matter what happened, you would still be there. Don't skip, because this is where their regret truly begins. They finally understood that your patience was never weakness. You stayed because you believed the connection mattered. You tried because losing them once felt harder than fighting for them. But eventually, something inside you changed. You realized that if someone truly wanted to remain in your life, you shouldn't have to convince them again and again. And now your soulmate is asking themselves the question they should have asked much earlier. Why did I wait until they stopped trying before I understood how much they were giving me? And now comes the realization they cannot easily escape. They thought you would always be available whenever they finally became ready, but they're beginning to understand that the version of you who endlessly waited may be gone. You didn't disappear overnight. You slowly stopped expecting them to become the person you kept hoping they would be. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate now sees that they didn't lose you in one dramatic moment. They lost pieces of your hope every time your effort went unanswered, every time you felt uncertain, and every time you had to wonder whether this connection mattered equally to both of you. And the most shocking part? Now that you've stopped chasing them, they're finally beginning to understand exactly what they had. And why getting it back may not be as simple as they once believed. Something has shifted inside your soulmate, and this time they cannot pretend they don't feel it. The silence they once thought would be temporary has lasted long enough for one truth to become impossible to ignore: you are no longer standing where they left you. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They have started remembering the smallest things. The way you noticed details nobody else noticed, the way you stayed patient when they became distant, and the way you kept showing up even when you weren't receiving the same energy back. What shocks them now is realizing how ordinary they allowed something extraordinary to feel. They assumed your effort would always be there, so they never imagined what life would feel like without it. But now every quiet moment is making them understand something deeper: you were never asking for perfection. You were simply waiting for them to show you that this connection mattered to them too. And when that never became clear, you finally chose peace over endless uncertainty. Here is where everything becomes different. Don't skip. Your soulmate is beginning to compare the person you used to be around them with the person you are becoming without them. Before, your attention naturally moved toward them. You wondered what they were thinking, whether they missed you, whether tomorrow would finally bring the clarity you had been waiting for. But slowly, that focus returned to you. And they can feel the difference. They are realizing that your silence isn't a strategy designed to make them chase you, it is evidence that something inside you genuinely changed. That realization is creating a question they never expected to ask themselves: what if I waited too long? Because they finally understand that someone can care deeply and still reach a point where they stop waiting. Someone can remember beautiful moments and still choose a new direction. Someone can have real feelings and still decide they deserve consistency. And suddenly, everything they postponed feels more important than it did when you were still chasing. But there is an even bigger revelation approaching. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is finally understanding that what they miss isn't simply your presence, they miss the way you made them feel valued without constantly demanding something in return. They miss knowing someone genuinely wanted to understand them. And now they are facing the possibility they once believed could never happen. You may have learned how to live without the answer you spent so long waiting for. Don't skip, because this changes everything. Their deepest regret isn't that you stopped chasing them. Their deepest regret is discovering why. They finally see that you didn't wake up one morning and randomly decide to disappear. You reached that point through countless quiet disappointments until protecting your own peace became more important than waiting for their certainty. And now, just as you are beginning to realize you never needed to chase love to deserve it, your soulmate may finally be realizing they should have turned around while you were still there. Now the story reaches the moment your soulmate never believed would come. They are beginning to understand that missing you and getting you back are two completely different things. Don't skip. For so long, they assumed that whenever they became ready, you would still be emotionally standing in the same place, waiting for the answer they never gave you. But something has changed. You are no longer building your days around their uncertainty, and that realization is hitting them harder than your silence ever could. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They are remembering every moment when you made your feelings clear, every opportunity they had to meet you halfway, and every time they believed there would always be another chance. Now those memories don't feel ordinary anymore. They feel valuable. Because your soulmate has finally discovered that your attention wasn't something they were entitled to, it was something you freely chose to give. And once you stopped giving it, they finally understood its worth. Then comes the realization they weren't prepared for: you may actually be happier without constantly wondering where you stand. Don't skip, because this is where their regret becomes completely different. They expected you to miss them forever, but they never considered that your heart could eventually become tired of waiting for clarity. They never imagined you could wake up one day and stop checking emotionally for someone who kept giving you uncertainty. Yet that is exactly what changed. You began putting your energy back into yourself. You started remembering who you were before this connection became a question you were constantly trying to answer. And while you were quietly rebuilding your peace, your soulmate was finally noticing the space you once filled. Now they understand something incredibly important: your absence isn't what created your value. Your absence simply forced them to notice the value that had been there all along. And there is one final truth beginning to settle inside them. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate now knows that if they ever approach you again, they cannot return with the same uncertainty that made you stop chasing them. Words alone may no longer be enough. The version of you who accepted almost anything just to keep the connection alive has changed. Don't skip. This is the twist they never expected. While they were assuming you would eventually come back, you were learning that genuine connection should move in both directions. And now the roles inside their mind have completely reversed. They are the one wondering whether the door is still open. They are the one replaying conversations. They are the one thinking about what should have been done differently. Because they finally discovered why you gave up chasing them, and the answer was never that you didn't care enough. It was that you finally cared enough about yourself to stop begging uncertainty to become certainty. And now comes the realization your soulmate has been trying to avoid. Don't skip. They finally understand that the hardest thing about losing your attention isn't the silence, it is knowing they helped create it. Every time you reached toward them, there was an opportunity for them to step closer. Every time you showed patience, there was a chance for them to show you that your effort mattered. But they kept believing tomorrow would offer another opportunity. Now tomorrow looks completely different. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is realizing that you didn't suddenly become distant, you slowly learned to stop expecting what they repeatedly failed to give. And that truth has changed the way they remember everything. Moments they once overlooked now seem priceless. Conversations they thought were ordinary now carry meaning. Your presence, once expected, has become the very thing they cannot stop thinking about. But something even more surprising is happening inside them. They aren't only wondering whether you still care, they are wondering whether they still deserve access to the version of you who cared so openly. Don't skip, because this question changes everything. They can finally see that you weren't asking them to chase you endlessly. You were asking for balance, clarity, and the feeling that you weren't carrying the entire connection alone. When those things never arrived, you stopped searching for answers outside yourself. And now your soulmate understands that your silence may not be an invitation for them to repeat the same cycle. It may be proof that you have grown beyond it. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The person they once believed would wait indefinitely has discovered something powerful. Peace feels different when you no longer have to question your place in someone's life. Here is the revelation that turns their regret into something much deeper. Your soulmate finally sees that losing you wasn't one single moment, it was the result of all the moments when they could have chosen differently but assumed there would always be more time. Don't skip. Now they understand why you stopped chasing, and they know that simply missing you cannot erase what taught you to let go. If they ever want another opportunity, they would have to arrive differently, with clarity where there was confusion, consistency where there was distance, and genuine effort where you once carried everything alone. Because you have changed. You now understand that the right connection should never require you to abandon your own peace just to keep it alive. And that is what they regret most. They finally became aware of your value at the exact moment you stopped needing them to recognize it. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. the final truth about what your soulmate wants to do next could completely change the meaning of everything that happened between you. What happens next is the part your soulmate never imagined they would have to face. Don't skip. After all the memories, all the questions, and all the regret, they are beginning to realize that thinking about you is no longer enough. Something inside them wants to break the silence, but another thought keeps stopping them. What if you no longer respond the way you once did? Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They remember when hearing from them could change your entire mood, when one small sign from them could restore your hope, when you were willing to believe there was still something worth waiting for. But now they sense that you have changed. And for the first time, they are experiencing the uncertainty you carried for so long. They don't know where they stand with you anymore. They don't know whether your heart is still holding the same space. And suddenly, the questions that once belonged to you have become theirs. Then another truth hits them even harder. Don't skip. Your soulmate is realizing that they cannot return to you with half-hearted effort and expect the old version of you to appear. You have already learned what happens when you keep giving while receiving uncertainty. You have learned that protecting your peace sometimes means refusing to repeat a familiar cycle. And this is exactly why their regret feels so intense now. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They aren't simply missing your messages or your attention. They are missing the person who once saw something special in them before they were ready to fully recognize it themselves. They are beginning to understand how rare it was to have someone who genuinely tried to understand them, remained patient, and still hoped for something meaningful. But the shocking part is that while they were slowly discovering your value, you were slowly discovering your own. And now everything comes down to one question: what will they do with what they finally understand? Don't skip. Regret can replay the past, but only real change can create something different. Your soulmate knows this now. If they ever step toward you again, they know they cannot expect you to do all the emotional work. They would have to show you something you once waited desperately to see: certainty. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The greatest twist in this entire story isn't that your soulmate finally regrets losing your pursuit. It's that you no longer need their regret to prove your worth. You stopped chasing and discovered that genuine love should also know how to walk toward you. And somewhere inside your soulmate, one realization is becoming impossible to silence. They spent so long believing you would always come back that they never prepared for the day when they would finally want to come toward you, and discover that you had already learned how to keep moving forward. This is where everything your soulmate believed about you begins to collapse. Don't skip. They thought your heart would always keep one door open, no matter how long they waited to walk through it. But now they are sensing something completely different. You are no longer waiting for their decision to decide your future. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The person who once searched for meaning in every small sign has become someone who no longer needs signs. And that transformation has shaken them. They are finally realizing that your love was never guaranteed, it was a gift they kept assuming would remain untouched. Now they are looking back and seeing how many times you silently gave them another chance without even announcing it. They thought nothing was changing, while inside you, everything was changing. But here comes the revelation they never saw approaching. Don't skip. Your soulmate has started wondering whether someone else could eventually receive the version of you they failed to appreciate. Not because you are trying to replace anyone, but because they finally understand that the loyalty, patience, and emotional depth you offered were never ordinary. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Suddenly, they can imagine you laughing without them, building new memories without them, and waking up without wondering whether they will finally choose you. That possibility makes one truth impossible for them to ignore. While they were deciding how much you mattered, you were learning that you mattered too. And now they know that if your heart completely moves forward, regret cannot simply rewind everything. Then comes the deepest realization of all. Your soulmate finally understands that the person they regret losing isn't exactly the person they once knew. You have grown beyond that version of yourself. Don't skip. You learn to stop confusing waiting with loyalty and uncertainty with connection. You learn that someone who truly values your presence should never need endless reminders of what you bring into their life. And now the balance has shifted. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They are no longer asking why you became quiet. They know why. The question haunting them now is whether they understood everything too late. Because the moment you stopped chasing wasn't the moment your story ended, it was the moment you remembered your own direction. And your soulmate is finally facing the one possibility they never prepared for. By the time they became ready to recognize your worth, you may have become strong enough to never accept anything less again. Now your soulmate is standing emotionally at the exact place where you once stood, waiting, wondering, and questioning what happens next. Don't skip. They finally understand what it felt like when you had no clear answer, because now they are the ones searching for certainty from you. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They remember how easily they once assumed you would reach out again, forgive again, and keep believing again. But now your silence feels different. It doesn't feel like a temporary pause. It feels like someone who has finally discovered that their life can continue without constantly waiting for another person's decision. And that realization has created something your soulmate never expected. They are no longer afraid only of losing your attention. They are afraid that you have discovered a peace so powerful that you will never trade it for uncertainty again. Then a once-in-a-lifetime realization begins to unfold. Don't skip. Your soulmate finally sees that what made you unforgettable wasn't how hard you chased them, it was how genuinely you cared while you were there. You offered something that cannot simply be recreated by sending one message or appearing again after a long silence. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They now understand that if they ever return, they cannot return expecting the old pattern. They would have to meet the person you have become, not search for the person who used to wait. And this is where their regret reaches another level. They had your attention when receiving it felt easy, but they recognized its true value only when it was no longer guaranteed. Suddenly, all those moments they postponed have become the moments they wish they could revisit. But here is the final shift they never expected. Don't skip. Your soulmate thought this story was about whether you would eventually chase them again. Now they understand it was always about whether they would finally become capable of meeting you halfway. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. You stopped chasing, and in doing so, you revealed the truth without saying a single word. real connection cannot survive forever on one person's effort. Now the choice is no longer yours alone to carry. If they truly want a place in your future, their actions would have to become louder than the uncertainty of the past. And perhaps that is why they regret everything now, because the person who once desperately wanted an answer from them has become the person they can no longer take for granted. You didn't lose when you stopped chasing. You simply stopped running after someone who had always been capable of turning around. But now an unexpected truth is rising inside your soulmate, and it is changing the way they see the entire connection. Don't skip. They have realized that your silence was never empty, it carried every answer they ignored when you were still trying. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They remember the version of you who kept hoping, kept understanding, and kept giving another chance without asking for anything impossible. You only wanted to feel that the connection mattered on both sides. Now they finally see it clearly. You weren't asking them to become perfect, you were waiting for consistency. And the shocking realization is that they had countless opportunities to give you exactly that. Instead, they trusted your patience more than they protected your feelings. Now every memory carries the same question: how did they fail to recognize something so meaningful while it was right in front of them? Then comes the shift they were never prepared to experience. Don't skip. Your soulmate is beginning to realize that you may no longer need the conversation you once desperately wanted. There was a time when one honest explanation could have meant everything to you. There was a time when you would have listened carefully, hoping their words finally gave you the certainty you had been searching for. But time changed something inside you. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. You learned how to create your own closure instead of waiting endlessly for someone else to deliver it. And now they understand the irony: the answers they once delayed may finally be ready inside them, but the person who needed those answers has become strong enough to live without them. That realization is making them look at you differently. They aren't only seeing someone they miss anymore. They are seeing someone who grew through the very uncertainty they created. And here is where everything becomes impossible for them to ignore. Your soulmate knows that regret alone cannot rebuild what hesitation slowly weakened. Don't skip. If they ever step toward you again, something would have to be different. Not promises without direction. Not temporary attention. Not another cycle where you are left wondering what everything means. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They finally understand that your heart deserves the same certainty it once tried so hard to give them. And now the greatest surprise is unfolding. While they were afraid of choosing too soon, they may have waited until you learned to choose yourself. That is why your absence feels so powerful to them now. You are no longer trying to convince them of your value. You are living as though you finally recognize it yourself. And your soulmate is beginning to understand the truth they should have discovered much earlier: you never wanted to be chased after you disappeared. You wanted to be valued while you were still there. And now the truth your soulmate has been running from has finally become impossible to ignore. Don't skip. They have reached the point where memories are no longer enough, because every memory reminds them of something they could have done differently while you were still trying. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They remember how naturally you made space for them, how often you understood what they couldn't explain, and how many times you chose patience instead of walking away. Back then, they believed there would always be more time. Now they understand that time was never the guarantee they thought it was. The shocking part is that your soulmate isn't only missing you. They are finally recognizing the exact moment their hesitation began costing them someone who genuinely wanted something real. What happens inside them next changes everything. Don't skip. They begin imagining what would happen if they reached out and discovered that you no longer needed the words you once waited so desperately to hear. That possibility shakes them, because they finally understand that your growth didn't stop when the connection became quiet. You kept moving. You learned. You healed from expectations that kept disappointing you, and you stopped measuring your worth through someone else's ability to recognize it. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Now your soulmate realizes that if they ever stand before you again, they cannot bring the same uncertainty that pushed you away. They would have to bring clarity. They would have to show consistency. Most importantly, they would have to understand that your heart is no longer a place where they can disappear and simply expect everything to remain exactly as they left it. And here is the revelation that brings the entire story full circle. Don't skip. Your soulmate finally discovered why you gave up chasing them, and the answer changed everything they believed about losing you. You didn't stop because your feelings were meaningless. You stopped because you finally understood that something real should never require one person to carry the entire connection. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Their deepest regret is not simply watching you walk away, it is realizing that you gave them opportunities to walk beside you, and they noticed their value only after those opportunities disappeared. Now the person who once waited for them has discovered how powerful it feels to move forward without waiting for permission. And that may be the greatest truth your soulmate has finally understood. They thought losing your chase would make them feel free, but instead, it showed them exactly how rare your presence had been. By the time they understood everything, you had already discovered something even bigger. You were always worthy of a love that never needed to be chased. But just when your soulmate thought they had understood everything, one final realization began changing the entire meaning of your silence. Don't skip. They suddenly understood that you never wanted them to feel regret, you wanted them to recognize your value while you were still choosing them. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Looking back, they can now see moments when you were quietly asking for reassurance without demanding it, moments when you stayed even though leaving would have been easier, and moments when one genuine step from them could have changed everything. They didn't recognize those moments because your loyalty made them feel secure. They believed someone who cared as deeply as you did would always keep trying. But now they understand the truth. Even the most patient heart eventually stops knocking when nobody opens the door. And then something surprising begins happening. Don't skip. Instead of wondering why you aren't chasing anymore, your soulmate starts wondering whether they ever truly deserved how much effort you gave them. That question changes everything, because they are finally viewing the past through your eyes. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They imagine what it must have felt like to constantly wonder whether another person cared equally, to search for clarity while receiving uncertainty, and to keep hoping that tomorrow would finally feel different. Suddenly, your decision makes sense. You didn't stop because the connection meant nothing, you stopped because constantly questioning something meaningful was taking away your peace. And now the person who once had your certainty is experiencing the uncertainty they unknowingly gave you. Here is the truth they cannot forget anymore. Don't skip. Your soulmate finally realizes that the greatest opportunity wasn't getting you back after losing you, it was appreciating you before losing you became possible. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They can miss you, remember you, and wish they had chosen differently, but they cannot return to the past and rewrite every moment. The only thing that could ever matter now would be what they choose to do differently from this point forward. Because you have changed too. You no longer need to chase someone to prove that your feelings are real. You no longer need unanswered questions to keep your heart waiting. And that is the realization they regret most. While they were taking time to understand your worth, you were slowly learning your own, and once someone truly discovers their value, they stop begging anyone else to see it. Now comes the moment your soulmate never thought they would experience, the moment when regret turns into complete clarity. Don't skip. They are finally realizing that the connection didn't become valuable because you stepped away. Stepping away simply removed everything that had distracted them from seeing its value. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate can now recognize how many times your presence made their world feel easier without them even noticing. The reassurance you gave, the attention you offered, the way you remembered details that seemed insignificant, none of it feels insignificant anymore. And the most surprising realization is this: they assumed you were chasing because you needed them, when the truth was completely different. You kept choosing them because you genuinely believed there was something worth building together. Once you realized you couldn't build it alone, you finally stopped carrying both sides. But the biggest shift is happening right now. Don't skip. Your soulmate is no longer asking themselves whether you still think about them. A deeper question has taken its place: if they return differently, would you even believe them? Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They know words cannot automatically erase the uncertainty that exhausted your heart. They know one emotional moment cannot replace the consistency you once needed. And suddenly, they understand that getting another chance would never be about convincing you with promises, it would be about becoming someone whose actions no longer leave you questioning where you stand. That realization is enormous because they finally see the connection through the standard you deserved from the beginning. You were never asking for endless attention. You were asking for something simple but powerful: mutual effort. And here is the revelation that changes the ending they once expected. Don't skip. Your soulmate thought you stopping the chase would eventually make you turn around and return. Instead, it forced them to turn around and finally see the distance they had allowed you to walk alone. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Now they understand that the greatest loss wasn't your messages becoming fewer or your attention becoming quieter. It was losing access to the version of you who once believed almost anything could be repaired if both people truly tried. That version of you waited. That version hoped. But the person you are becoming understands something far more powerful: real connection should never make you repeatedly question whether you matter. And that is why your soulmate regrets everything now. They finally discovered why you gave up chasing them, and at the exact same time, they discovered why they should have been walking beside you all along.